The VP debate has come and gone. In a way, it felt like we have gone back in time. Two normal politicians having a civil debate. A complete opposite of what we saw in the presidential debate. Many of my friends didn't even watch the VP debate. They said, who cares about the VP? And rightly so. But the thing is, this one's a little bit different. Joe Biden, at the time of inauguration, if he wins, is going to be 78 years old. At the end of his first term, he's going to be 82. I doubt he's going to finish one term. I don't think he's going to make it 4 years. So Kamala is a semi-vice president, semi-president. Last night's debate gave us a better insight into Kamala and Mike Pence. So who won the debate? Did Pence mansplain his way to victory, or was Kamala Harris a slay queen? Let's get into it. Let's start with the VP candidates' demeanors. Pence was smooth, calm, a perfect running mate for an erratic debater like Donald Trump. Kamala, on the other hand, was pretentious. Her facial expressions were awful. They reminded me of Hillary Clinton. One of the most important parts of the debate was when Kamala was asked about court packing, and, as per usual, she refused to answer.
When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you,
And
Senator
the
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court.
When pressed farther, she went on to a history lesson.
In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do.
She forgets to tell you one thing. Lincoln was in the middle of a civil war. But that's probably not important, right? She then claims that the Trump administration has actually been the ones court packing because of the amount of judges that President Trump has appointed, federal judges, in the last 4 years.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to. So the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard.
Actually, Trump appointed 3 Supreme Court justices and 194 federal judges. Most of those were vacancies left by your boy Obama. If he had done his job, we wouldn't be in this predicament, would we? And then, when pressed even further, she does what she always does. She pulls the race card.
And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
Even the mainstream media pulled out the race card when they realized that Kamala lost the debate. They were also keen enough not to leave out the woman card.
That to you, because obviously Mike Pence is a former television commentator, does have a very calm demeanor, but I think a lot of people were noticing some mansplaining going on tonight.
Is it racist for people to victimize women of color like that? Racist and sexist? Comment down below, because Kamala was a district attorney, attorney general, and is a sitting senator. So I don't think anyone's thinking, oh, that black woman's not qualified, she's a black woman. So if you're just bringing that up all the time, I think you might be the racist and the sexist. Pulling the race card is one of Kamala's go-to moves. She did the same thing in the primaries when she dropped out in order to avoid embarrassment by losing in her home state.
What I describe and what I believe to be the elephant in the room about my campaign.
What is that?
Electability.
What do you mean?
Electability. You know, essentially, is America ready for a woman and a woman of color to be president of the United States?
America was ready for a black man to be president of the United States.
And this conversation happened for him.
When Kamala tried pulling the race card, Pence threw it right back at her real nice.
When you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney General of California, you increased the disproportionate incarceration of blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to pass the First Step Back on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record speaks for itself. President Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President.
We fought for educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our members.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll do it for 4 more
Thank you.
years.
Kamala has an awful record for black people as district attorney and attorney general. When she was district attorney in San Francisco, the police framed the man for murder. Last year, the man was exonerated and San Francisco paid this man $13 million. Way to go, Kamala. Nice prosecuting. Now let's talk about politicians and the media assuming the public is stupid. When they were discussing tax cuts in the debate, Kamala said that Joe Biden would not raise your taxes unless you were making over $400,000. Sounds reasonable, right? Yeah, but is it true? Probably not. Actually, no, it's not. See, they will raise your taxes not by passing law or by signing an executive order, but by repealing the Trump tax cuts. When those tax cuts go away, you will pay more. Not because they passed the law, but because they repealed one. But she doesn't know, she doesn't think you're going to notice this because she thinks you're stupid.
He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is absolutely not true. That
is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
And hey, since they assume the public is stupid, why not outright contradict yourself and your running mate? Like they're doing with the fracking. Not like the public would notice, right? Wrong! Kamala said very clearly that Joe would not ban fracking. But Joe said very clearly that he would.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking.
We are going to get rid of fossil fuels. Come on, folks. That's okay. These guys are okay. They want to do the same thing I want to do. They want to phase out fossil fuels, and we're going to phase out fossil fuels.
Kamala's grins and smiles all night reminding me of the crooked one, Hillary Clinton. Since we're on the subject of assuming that the public is stupid, the mainstream media is actually worse than the politicians. In an article, CNN said that the debates won't change anything. People will only care about the fly that landed on Pence's head. The New York Times hoped that the public wouldn't notice that Pence won the debate by pointing out that Pence reeked of white privilege. What does that even mean? And of course, they try to make ground for Kamala by saying that, as a black woman, she had to hold her punches.
In the middle, she had to walk that tightrope that you've seen women of color and all women have to walk, of being strong but not too strong, being firm, and she got run over by Pence over and over again. The moderator did nothing about it, but she kept her poise, she kept her composure, and she did great tonight.
That's racist. The media also complained that mean Pence was cutting into Kamala's speaking time. But the reality is that they spoke just about exactly the same amount. Kamala accused the Trump administration of being weak on China. Can you believe it? Being weak on China with the trade war and losing manufacturing jobs.
The vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war. You lost it. What ended up happening is because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration.
The funny thing about this is that when Pence was speaking, Chinese TV cut the transmission. When Kamala was speaking, it came back on. I wonder why that is. And isn't it funny how she attacks the Trump administration and COVID all the time, but when it comes to the economy, it's like COVID doesn't exist at all? Look at the state of the economy! Well, yeah, we're in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah, but economy! Look at the state of the economy! My favorite part of the debate was the old line, you're entitled to your own opinions, but not your own facts.
But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for...
Remember a couple of years ago when it was the Republicans talking about alternative facts? Well, now it's the Democrats who got their own set of facts. Look at that.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Lastly, I thought it was interesting to point this out. Was Kamala leaked the questions and topics of the debate? Check this out.
No one in either campaign or at the commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate
turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation, unleashing American energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's on the line if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a good segue into our third topic, which
This morning, after Pence demolished Kamala Harris, the Presidential Debate Commission decided that the next presidential debate will be held online. Trump immediately refused, and rightly so. Can you imagine Joe Biden having all his staffers behind the camera? Maybe even having a teleprompter? Absolutely not. Yet, Kamala's biggest mistake was not pandering to the radical left. She didn't talk positively at all about the Green New Deal, even though she was a co-sponsor of it and Joe Biden still has it on his website. She said they wouldn't ban fracking, even though it's a lie, but the radical left doesn't like that. Even AOC tweeted about it. The beholden AOC. She even touted that members of the Bush administration were endorsing Joe Biden. She mentioned Colin Powell. This man gets a raging hard-on anytime he hears the word war. Not pandering to the radical left is putting a lot of people in a weird predicament. They don't want to vote for Biden, but Orange Man bad. So what are you going to do? Please do your own research, do your own fact-checking, because the fact-checking that the mainstream media does is nothing short of preposterous. They're going to spend half the time talking about why Kamala, as a black woman, has disadvantages going against the white male who reeks of white privilege. So please, do your own research, because while we're entitled to our own opinions, we're not entitled to our own facts. Who do you think won the debate? Does Kamala remind you of Hillary? Comment down below. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Ginger out.